Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time was an interesting run through Pokemon Black as I sought to see if I could beat that game with a single Craniodose. Today though, we go different as I do another tag team run and see if I can beat Pokemon Emerald with a team of Teddiursa and Spinda. Teddiursa first then. We are a first stage normal type with a base stat total of 330, the best of which is our attack by a long way. Everything else is pretty balanced aside our defence and special stats at 50, a decent health at 60, but speed is weakest at 40. Mono normal type, so weak to fighting and immune to ghost. Via level up, Teddiursa gets a few useful moves. We do get coverage in Lick and Feint Attack, which might be useful when combined with Fake Tears, maybe. Rest, Snore, Slash, maybe I'll get use out of these. We do get some good moves via TM such as Bulk Up, Hidden Power, Earthquake, Dig, Brick Break, Aerial Ace, Facade, Secret Power, so maybe this might be useful. Spinda then. We are the same type as Teddiursa, so we have the same weaknesses and resistances. We have a slightly better BST with a 360 base stat total with 60 in everything, so I could build this however I like. Might lead towards more being a special attacker though, we shall see. Via level up we do get a few interesting moves like Psybeam, Hypnosis, Teeter Dance, there's also Double Edge and Feint Attack. So maybe we can get something here, but it's our TM Learn set that looks particularly useful. Calm Mind, Psychic, Shadow Ball, Shockwave, Dig, Rock Tomb, Thief, Water Pulse. This is all pretty handy. Thanks for watching folks, the rules are on the screen throughout. Any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below. If you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. Let's do this. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Trico with Teddiursa so that I can do the whole run with it. We can get Spinda a lot earlier than we can get Teddiursa, but up until after the third gym, it's going to be a solo run. I chose to replace Trico so that the rival would get Torchic. There's not a lot in it, but that is probably the hardest for us to fight. We save the Professor from being mauled and we can head off on our way. I choose not to do nicknames this time. My Teddiursa has the lonely nature, so more attack and less defence, which is kinda okay on one hand, but a bit worrying on the other. It's okay, I'll be teaching her Bulk Up when I get the chance, which will mitigate it somewhat. We have the Pick Up ability, which is also handy because we'll be able to get free items. I fight May soon after. I'm wanting to get EV training going, but I also want to get Pokéballs so I can get a pickup brigade. Torchic does hit us with Growl and Scratch, but it's a simple matter to free shot it. We don't have much to worry about in this fight. Not that I thought there was, to be honest. We do have a slightly better base stat total than a first form starter, so should be about an even fight. Now I'm training. The Rock Gym is going to be rough, I can tell. Maybe it won't be as bad as the Rock Gym in the last Emerald challenge I did. I mean, I'm struggling to think of anything that might be as bad as the Rock Gym in the last Emerald challenge I did. But I still think we might struggle to damage Roxanne and her team. We do have Lick, which isn't resisted, but it's a low power move against some high defense Pokemon. I think at the very worst case scenario, we get Feint Attack at level 25 and that would remove any issues, but hopefully we can do it before then. You know what, I've wanted to use Teddiursa in a challenge for a while. I think it's a very cool design for a Pokemon. Well, to be fair, I like the whole line. I did want to use Ursaluna in Legends Arceus until I found out what a pain it was to get hold of it. I think I want to play Legends Arceus again at some point, that could be interesting. I don't think I've switched my Switch on since I finished Scarlet and Violet. I've definitely not been rushing out to get the Switch 2, in case you're wondering. Might get one about the same time Gen 10 puts an appearance. Mind you, there is some good upcoming stuff in the next 18 months on top of Gen 10. Legends ZA, just saw the trailer for both 007 First Light and Resident Evil 9, so I'm easily satisfied. I make a try on Roxanne soon after at level 16 and we start hitting her Geodude with Licks. They don't do a lot of damage, we do paralyse early on and it doesn't really help. We do have Leah, but since she has Defense Curl, it's not entirely helpful. What's worse is that our nature is working against us, since we have less defence and those Rock Tombs hurt as well as making us slower. We do get her to burn a potion, but she's just too much for us and we lost. Off to train then. I stand by my earlier comment about how I think Feint Attack is the worst case scenario victory condition. I make more tries on Roxanne at level 20, but although we do somewhat better, we do still take a lot of damage over the course of the fight. We do at least make it past the first Geodude this time. The problem is that, once again, Lick just doesn't do enough damage, and although we make it past the first Geodude, we don't make it past the second one. We lose the War of Attrition quite badly and end up going down. So, I'm training again. Like I said, level 25 is probably the point when we make it there and can do it without a problem, but that's going to be a long time. I'm training north of Oldale Town because there's lots of Poochyena here that give attack EVs, plus Zigzagoon and Wingull that give speed EVs, and I think we'll need a lot of those before the run is out. I do make another speculative try at level 23, and we get oh so very close. We do make it to Nose Pass this time, but we've just been beaten too badly over the course of the fight. We don't have enough left in our tank to bring it down. Nose Pass is quite tanky, it's well worth remembering. It does have pretty good defences. I did do a run with Nose Pass. I don't recall if it was in Emerald or if it was in Fire Red, but it definitely was in one of those. So it must be level 25 then. At that level, I enter the gym with Feint Attack in hand and get ready to face off with Roxanne. Hopefully for one last time. It's not a perfect solution, we do have low special attack, but Feint Attack is enough to see off both the Geodude in a single move apiece, since they have quite low special defense and it overcomes them. Nose Pass, however, doesn't have bad special defense. Our Feint Attacks do hurt it, doing maybe a quarter to a third of its health each time, but unfortunately she does have a berry and both potions still for this fight, so it does take a while for Teddiursa to wear it down. We do lose some health, but eventually we bring the Nose Pass down for a win and can move on. On our way to the next gym, we have to face a Team Aqua Grunt and we have to conduct a hostage rescue effort, which always feels somewhat weird, but I'm not going to complain, it's a nice little distraction. Unless you're Pico, then it's probably terrifying. There is a rival battle as we go back through Rustboro, but I'm not really expecting her to be too tricky since we had to train up a lot for the first gym, but I still make the show of battling with her. She begins with her Lotad and we fold it with Scratch. Torchic is second, it also doesn't survive Scratch and we take the win. We have the fighting gym to navigate next and the battle with Brawley. After this we will get the Bulk Up TM, which will be useful for Teddiursa, so it's time to get cracked on. Here he goes with Machop and we land a Scratch to nearly one shot. Machop goes to Bulk Up. Brawley heals but with two shots with Scratch. Meditite is second. It goes to charge Focus Punch but we one shot with Scratch. We nearly one shot Makahita with Scratch. It goes to Bulk Up and eats the berry, but we take it down with the second Scratch. 2 badges down. So we've got the usually fun cycling road rival fight upcoming. There's going to be the electric gym after that, which is usually pretty unpleasant too. I may need Rock Smash for that, but we will see. Bulk Up isn't going to save us from Magneton, who has Shockwave and Sonic Boom. There'll be a Maxi fight soon after that, so we've got plenty to look forward to. And let's not forget the fire gym after that. Anyway, the rival fight. She begins with Wingull. I don't want to start spamming Bulk Up here because it has Supersonic. I know this from previous runs, so we drop it with Scratch. I go for Bulk Up, this is Combusken, while it goes for Focus Energy, and we then drop it with Scratch. Lombre is also a one-shot with Scratch. That was pretty smooth then. In Morville City, I took the Acro bike, just in case you were wondering about the choice I made in which bike to take. Actually, if you were wondering and wanted to ask, don't let me stop you. I'm sure comments have their place in the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, I make some tries on the electric gym, and well, we keep running into the paralysis issue, but I feel like it can be done at this level. Eventually, we get this effort. Watson begins with Voltorb and we go for Bulk Up. We do get hit with Shockwave, but take it out with Scratch. Versus Electrike, we go for another few Bulk Ups while it goes for Howls, only choosing to do that rather than attack. We two-shot it with Feint Attack. I didn't want to risk paralysis with Scratch. Don't question my logic, I know it's possibly flawed. Magneton is a two-shot with Scratch. It does paralyse us, but we eat our Cherry Berry to clear the paralysis and take it out. Manectric outspeeds us and goes for Howl, but we one-shot with Scratch. Let's do the trivia. For Teddiursa, it is one of the 14 Pokemon for which foreign Pokédex entries can be collected in Diamond and Pearl. Teddiursa is the only non-Gen 1 Pokemon with a unique sprite in Fire Red and Leaf Green, with the exception of the different forms of Deoxys, even though it is not in the wild in that game. It can be seen as a parallel to Phanpy. Their evolution lines are exclusive to opposite versions of Gold and Silver and their remakes. They are the only Pokemon to swap version exclusive status between localizations. They each have one evolved form prior to Legends Arceus, and both have pickup as an ability and lose it upon evolution. It wasn't in Sword and Shield, but an early prototype build of this game featured a Teddiursa charm on Gloria's bag. Despite the Pokédex entries mentioning that it loves honey and it even dropping dazzling honey, it is not amongst the list of its preferred foods in Legends Arceus. A lot of Pokédex entries talk about how its paws are soaked with honey and it hoards food in the winter time. Some entries talk about how they make their own honey by blending fruits and pollen collected by Beedrill. The Legends Arceus and Scarlet Pokédex entries talk about how they follow Combee and raid their hives for honey. It appears to be based on a bear cub, such as the cub of an Asian black bear, whose Japanese name literally means Ring of the Moon bear. Since bears have a weakness for honey, it is mimicked by Teddiursa licking its honey-covered paws. Its appearance also resembles a teddy bear and also the cubs of other honey bear species such as the sun bear. The markings on its face may come from the previously mentioned Asian black bear and the crescent moon it is similar to. The connection between a bear and a celestial body may refer to the Ursa Minor and Ursa Major constellations. Its name may be a combination of teddy bear and Ursa, which is Latin for bear. It isn't long before I catch my Spinda, getting a level 14 one outside of Falava Town. It has the own tempo ability, so it can't be confused, as well as the lax nature, so more defence and less special defence. That might be good because I will be teaching it Calm Mind later in the run when I get the TM, so we can mitigate that somewhat. Now, I have to EV train my Spinda, and I decided to break the trivia up because there was a lot of Teddiursa trivia. For Spinda trivia, in Pokemon Battle Revolution, Toxic is normally depicted as two purple orbs spinning around each other towards the target. However, they travel erratically when the move is used by Spinda. Like Whirlipede, its space stat total might be based on the fact that they usually spin in circles, which are 360 degrees. The Sun Pokédex entry states that Spinda believe they walk in straight lines, oblivious to their teetering gait, but this is flat out contradicted by an NPC Spinda in Mystery Dungeon, Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team. Spinda and Deoxys are the only Pokemon to lack a second frame of animation for their front sprite in Pokemon Emerald. Pokédex entries state that every single one that exists is said to have unique spot patterns. A lot of them mention that they have unique spot patterns and that they move as if dizzy. It's compared to dancing in quite a few versions. Some entries claim the chances of two Spinda having identical spot patterns is less than 1 in 4 billion. It appears to be based on a kindling panda with some rabbit traits. It also resembles a teddy bear or other stuffed toy. The swirls in its eyes are based on a cartoon representation of someone being dizzy. Its name may be a combination of spin and panda. There is a maxi fight shortly after. Then there'll be a pair of gyms, the fire and normal gyms, before there is also a rival fight that is never usually problematic, and then the flying gym, which could be interesting. I may teach Spinda Shockwave before that fight, or I may not need it. Anyway, Maxi. I decide to begin with Teddiursa ahead of the fight. I'm pretty confident I've got both my Pokemon to a similar level. Might be over leveled for this bit of the game, but I'm already mentally prepping for the Psychic Gym later. He begins with Mightyena, and I immediately go for a bulk up to mitigate the Intimidate, 2 of them. I do the second when I realise Bite doesn't hurt us that much. We then cut through his team with Slash, dropping the Mightyena where it stands. We do the same to the Zubat, who comes out afterwards, and last is the Camerupt, who also goes down to Slash, and that was pretty simple. For all the times that I've ever done this game, it still remains beyond me to be able to navigate through the fire gym in Emerald without getting lost and jumping through the wrong holes, which means of course that I've got to start all over again, which, never pleasant, but well, I'm not too concerned about Flannery. I use Teddiursa and start bulking up, using 2 of them, while Nummel goes to Magnitude and Sunny Day. We then fold it with Slash. Slugma is second. My big concern would be being burned, but we drop it with Slash with no consequence. Camerupt is a one-shot with Slash, and at the very bitter end, so is the Torkoal, who can't stand up to our claws. 4 badges down. I did not think Torkoal would be a one-hit. We've got the normal gym after this, and that could be trickier. I mean, I think we'll probably do it, but there's obviously 1 or 2 things we need to watch out for. I'll probably begin that battle with my own Spinda, just to avoid confusion from Norman's Spinda. Anyway, I do just that as we begin the Spinda mirror match. We hit a feint attack for decent damage, while it counters with Facade, but we take it down with Dizzy Punch. Norman goes for Slacking next, earlier than I thought, but although we get hit with another Facade, I connect with Hypnosis and then switch into Teddiursa. As Slaking sleeps, I begin to go for bulk up attacks, raising our attack and defence. We manage to bulk up 3 times before Slacking does wake up and immediately fails with counter. The next turn, we lash out with Slash and one-shot the Slacking. Vigoroth out third is a one-shot with Slash, and so, at the last, when Linoon appears, we take that out with a single hit 2 to give us the 5th badge. Anyway, now we're travelling. There'll be the rival ahead, which as I said before, it likely won't be an issue. The flying gym might be an interesting exchange, but again, we should have enough to triumph. The Lily Cove rival fight I doubt will be an issue, but once we start getting to the Magma Hideout Maxi fight, that could be interesting since his team starts getting frustrating at that point. And of course, we'll have the Psychic Gym soon after, which is always in the back of my mind. At least we can fight them on even terms now in the double battle. Ish. On the subject of the Weather Institute rival fight then, I send in Teddiursa to begin the fight. She begins with Pelipper and I know what's coming, so I go for a bulk up. Since it's a Pelipper in Hoenn, it gives us a free turn to bulk up by only using Protect, and on the next turn we connect with Slash to drop it in 1. Combusken is her second Pokemon, we one-shot that with Slash, and the Lombre is out last. It does connect with Fake Out to stall us, but we land Slash on the next turn to bring it down. Outside Four Tree City, I do test out the hidden power types that the team has, just out of curiosity. Teddiursa has the Psychic type hidden power, which is pretty unhelpful. Spinda has the Fighting type hidden power, which is just as unhelpful. Since Teddiursa is mainly a physical attacker and all Psychic type moves were special, and since I've been building Spinda as a special attacker and all fighting moves were physical, this is why this is a problem. The other way around, that would have been fantastic. I am still working out final movesets, but I'm trying not to change anything until I have to. I decide to make that try on Winona then, just to see how we do. I mean, we should be fine. At least this gym is moderately more pleasant to navigate than the fire gym, I will say that. I guess there's also no ice gym in Hoenn, which immediately makes the collective 8 gym puzzles better. Anyway, she begins with Swablu and I go for Teddiursa. We do a bulk up and she fails with a mirror move before we beat Swablu down with Slash. It has Perish Song, so I didn't want to power up too much. Tropius is second. We go for another bulk up while she charges Solar Beam, but we slash it down before the attack lands. Pelipper is third, it goes for Protect, but we do a third bulk up before slashing it down. Skarmory tanks Slash and goes for Steel Wing for a tiny bit of damage. I know she's going to heal though, so we go for a 4th bulk up, and we are slowly approaching being the most dangerous land predator in Hoenn now as we one-shot the Skarmory. Altaria at the end is also a one-shot with Slash, and we have our 6th badge. Moving on up then. Bit of a boss rush coming up as we have the rival, Maxi, the Psychic Gym, and then Archie in quick succession, all before the Water Gym follows that, so we had best get ready. We're in good shape though, so I don't think I'm too worried about what's to come. Maybe the Psychic Gym, always the Psychic Gym. In Lily Cove City, we do that last rival fight, and I send out Teddiursa to face off with Tropius. We begin the fight by going for a bulk up, while we also get hit with Magical Leaf in retaliation. We strike back with a slash though to take it out. Combusken hits a quick attack to do a little damage before we fold it with slash. Pelipper is third, and I know it's going to protect, so I go for another bulk up and we take that out with slash. Ludicolo at the end is also a one-hit takedown with slash, and that gives us the win. Going through the Magma Hideout then, let's talk about what's ongoing with the channel. So lately, in addition to the regular weekly TCG upload, I've been uploading episodes of my playthrough of 007 Nightfire, which I did finally finish. I think I mentioned it on a recent video. I did start Everything or Nothing ages ago, but not really done anything with it for a while. For playing, I did record 4 episodes of a playthrough of Resident Evil 7, but I haven't really done anything with it for a bit. I've had a chaotic few weeks at the time of writing. I've been to 4 job interviews in a week and a half, so these have been pretty deep in my mind when I normally record stuff. I mean, things might be about to change for me in a way, so we'll have to see how it plays out. That was for 2 different jobs. I'd definitely not got one at the time of recording the audio, so we'll see about the other one. So, changing subject, challenge-wise, let's see. Oh, this one takes me by surprise. I knew I had it lined up, but I didn't think it was so soon. So, Legends Z8 is coming out later this year. I've used Chikorita in a challenge in White 2. I've used Tepig in a challenge in Alpha Sapphire. So, I think, in keeping with this theme, it's time for me to use Totodile, and I'm going to see if I can beat Pokemon Y with just a single Totodile. That should be interesting, I think, and I mean, it's been a while since I did a Carlos challenge. The last one was in November. I mean, it might be questioned why, if Z8 is coming out in October, I'm doing a Totodile challenge in June/July, but I don't think it's a question. I've plotted out my challenges for the rest of the year now, anyway, and there's probably not anywhere else to put it realistically. As always, folks, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below. Follow the links in the description to Twitter or Discord, and, you know, while you're there, don't hesitate to check out my Instagram, please. There's a maxi fight now, we'll have to see how this plays out. I mean, I feel like we should be reasonably comfortable here. Having 2 Pokemon gives me a different dimension to usual, so we shall see. He begins with Mightyena, and I send out Teddiursa. We're intimidated, but go for Bulk Up. We then get hit with Scary Face and Swagger in succession before dropping Mightyena with Slash. Versus Crobats, we get hit with 2 Air Cutters while also hitting ourselves in Confusion, but we do eventually bring it down with Slash. We are still faster than Camerupt somehow, and one-shot with Slash, giving us the victory. Going through the Aqua Hideout, I actually feel reasonably confident about the upcoming Psychic Gym. I mean, sure, we are still going to be outnumbered 2-4, but at least it's not 4-1 as per usual. We are not going to be getting hit twice versus hitting back once. It's going to be something approaching a fair fight. Mind you, I've done this in team runs before this battle. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win first time, but I think we can make a decent stab at it, and I'm not worried about Archie afterwards either. Anyway, Tate and Liza are up next, and we have to face off with them after navigating their gym. Again, not a horrible gym puzzle. It looks intimidating, but it's actually quite easy to get your head around this one. I send out both my team members to face Xatu and Claydol. Xatu goes for Calm Mind, Teddiursa goes to Bulk Up, Spinda one-shots Xatu with a crit feint attack. I doubt that would have been a one-shot without a crit, before Claydol lands Earthquake. That's just round 1. Round 2, Teddiursa one-shots Claydol with Slash. Solrock emerges before Spinda strikes Lunatone with feint attack. Lunatone survives and puts Spinda to sleep with Hypnosis, all while Teddiursa then takes Lunatone out with Lick. Solrock goes for Sunny Day, Teddiursa hits Solrock with Lick, while Solrock hits Teddiursa with Psychic. However, the next turn, Spinda wakes up and Lick and Feint Attack takes Solrock down for the count, giving us a first try win over normally what is the worst gym in the game. I'll take that. I was actually quite curious about this, so I did the YouTube search. I have an amazing feeling about whether this specific run has been attempted before. Now, I did find a lot of Spinda challenges in Emerald, and I mean a lot, But I didn't find one where it was teamed up with Teddiursa. I only found one instance of someone taking on Emerald with just a single Teddiursa. So it's not entirely a unique run in the sum of its parts, but in its execution it would appear to be a unique one. So there is that. Archie then. It takes a bit of time to get to him, but when we do, I'm certainly ready for him. I have a plan anyway, so it's not going to be too bad, I'm sure of it. Unlike versus Maxi, I begin with Spinda. We go for Calm Mind and get hit with Scary Face. We do get hit with Takedown and Scary Face, and then it tries to swagger us. We get the attack buff, but no confusion, using another Calm Mind before one-shotting my Tiina with Shockwave. Crobat hits a wing attack, but is then a one-shot with Psychic. Sharpedo uses Taunt, but we one-shot with Shockwave for the win and can move on. Travelling now, we've got a bit of a diversion before we have to do the water gym, which shouldn't be too bad. Well, we all know that Hoenn's Kingdra can be a bit annoying, but I figure we've got the means of dealing with it this time. We will see, won't we? I don't hate the puzzle in the water gym in this game, you know. I think it's far more irritating in Oras from what I remember. I'll find that out in a couple of weeks when I do the yearly Oras challenge. But I am pretty sure it's a different puzzle here than it is in base Ruby and Sapphire. Mind you, a few of the gyms do have different layouts in Ruby and Sapphire to Emerald. I've only run those games twice in my YouTube history, but I recall the Psychic gym is drastically different. Anyway, I begin the fight with Spinda to face off with Love Disc. I start Calm Minding and we get hit with Water Pulse and Attract. We do take the Love Disc down with Shockwave pretty quickly though. Whiscash, out second, is a one-shot with Psychic before the third opponent is Celio. We one-shot with Shockwave. Crawdont is a one-shot with Shockwave before we then have to deal with Kingdra. Shockwave does about 2/3 of its health, it goes to double team and then we take it down with the next Shockwave for victory. We have got a Wally fight in Victory Road to be getting on with, and as you may have noticed, I've been tweaking my movesets at long last, and so we finally have a fantastic way of dealing with steel types. There's not too many in Emerald to be fair. I send Teddiursa to face Altaria. We bulk up and watch Altaria go for 2 Dragon Dancers before we fold it with a Slash. The second opponent is Delcatty and we drop it with Brick Break to give ourselves a battle with Magneton, who we shatter with Brick Break. Roselia is a one-shot with Aerial Ace, and last is the Gardevoir. Single Slash takes it down. That's Wally done. Boom, defeated. Exploring Victory Road then, I suppose I need to think about what we have facing us ahead. The Hoenn Elite Four are usually more annoying than difficult in my experience. I say it every time. Sydney may not be too bad actually. We can switch out to remove debuffs if we need to. It also means we lose any buffs from either Bulk Up or Calm Mind. Maybe I'll Aerial Ace him down with Teddiursa to remove Sand Attack issues. Phoebe, we only have certain ways of hurting her, since Teddiursa's moveset is useless bar Aerial Ace. Plus, we'll have Curse to worry about potentially. At least we'll be able to do some damage with Psychic and Shockwave from Spinda. Glacier shouldn't be too bad. I mean, her team can be bulky again, but we have super effective moves against most, if not all, of her team on both Spinda and Teddiursa. Drake, I can see being exceptionally rough. He has a team that will be able to hit us hard, and I'm actually more worried about Drake than I am Wallace. I don't think we will have anywhere near as much of an issue with the champion, but I guess we will see. Standing in the Pokemon League, Teddiursa is level 64, we have great attack, but everything else is worryingly bad. Even our speed isn't particularly great either. I mean, it's just about touched over 3 figures, but I guess this is what we're working with. Spinda is level 63, our stats are probably more balanced, but such is the nature of Spinda. We do have a speed below 100. I can tell we have a lowered special defense nature, but our special attack is okay, I guess. Take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not. Right now, folks, let's do this. Cue that Gen 5 gym music. Dark Trainer Sydney is first. This is actually a weirdly long Tiina fight. I know it has Sand Attack and Intimidate, so I plan to bulk up with Teddiursa and then sweep with Aerial Ace. We get hit with Double Edge and 2 Sand Attacks. all while we use bulk up a matter of 4 times. However, after we've used the 4th bulk up, Mightyena uses Roar to switch us out and Spinda comes in. So I start to calm mind before I think of a better strategy. Spinda does land Hypnosis at the 2nd attempt after we get smacked with some double edge attacks which wipe out the best part of half our health. With Mightyena asleep, I switch back into Teddiursa safely, use bulk up a pair of times and then smash into the Dark Doggo with Brick Break for a one shot. We take Shiftry out with Brick Break as well when it's his 2nd Pokemon out. We one shot Cacturn with Brick Break too, and that puts us into a battle with Crawdont, who, you've guessed it, we take out with Brick Break. Absol then at the last is also a one shot with Brick Break, and we've made it through in relatively smooth fashion. Ghost Trainer Phoebe is 2nd, and I'm well aware what her usual strategy is. I also figure I need to be careful of Curse. She always opens with Protect on Dusclops number 1, so I bulk up with Teddiursa. I get a 2nd bulk up going, but we get hit with Curse. I then strike her Dusclops with Aerial Ace and take it out. Thankfully, no 2nd Protect. Bayonet number 1 is 2nd, we one shot with Aerial Ace. Sableye is 3rd, and that is also a one shot with Aerial Ace, but we survive the Curse damage on red health, which lets us take Bayonet number 2 out with Aerial Ace before Teddiursa goes down in defeat. Dusclops number 2 is her final Pokemon, and Spinda starts to calm mind. We get 3 of them up before we start trying to put Dusclops to sleep. I'm not sure what my thinking was here with hindsight, maybe I should have gone Hypnosis first. With Dusclops asleep, we land Psychic and it survives on a Slither. It then takes itself out of healing range with a Berry, and then we finish it off with Shockwave. We lost 3/4 of our health, but we made it out alive. Ice Trainer Glacier is 3rd. Remember what I said earlier, that she has that surprisingly bulky team for ice types. Teddiursa bulks up versus Celio number 1, who puts up the Hail. I don't want to take any chances, and so we immediately take Celio out with Brick Break. Glalie number 1 is a one shot with Brick Break, so that's a big relief. Celio number 2, one shot with Brick Break as well. We take Glalie number 2 out in the same way we dealt with the first one, prompting the emergence of Walrein. Walrein survives Brick Break on red health, then one shot crits us with Ice Beam, which very much not helpful. Spinda has to come in and face Walrein. She heals, we land Shockwave for about 1/4 of her health, so I pick to use 2 Calm Minds while we get hurt by Ice Beam and Surf attacks. I fail with Hypnosis after a misclick and picking the wrong move, but we finally land Shockwave to take Walrein out. Could have gone badly wrong there, but we made it through. I move on to Drake then, and this is where it comes grinding to a halt. We lose so many efforts here. The problem is Shelgon, believe it or not. It has Rock Tomb, which just causes us problems for the rest of the fight. I mean, I want to power up, but being slower is a death sentence against his team. There are a few attempts where we make it to Salamence, but we are slower and usually pretty beaten up by that point. So, after about 15 minutes worth of attempts, I decide to leave and retrain. I come back to Drake with Spinda at level 72 and Teddiursa at level 75. Although a first attempt goes badly, the next one looks like this. We Calm Mind the first turn versus Shelgon while it protects, and then we land Hypnosis on the next round to put it to sleep. We Calm Mind one more time and then take it out with Psychic. I don't want to risk it waking up and landing Rock Tomb. Being slower will not do us any favours. I go for another Calm Mind versus Altaria, but we get hit with Double Edge. We then take it out with Psychic. Kingdra is a one-shot with Psychic when it emerges from the Pokeball, and Flygon, out 4th, is also a one-shot with Psychic, putting us into the battle with Salamence. It does outspeed and land Rock Slide, but we manage to one-shot with Psychic to give us victory. Hallelujah! Just the champion left then. We'll probably make at least one attempt on Steven, but we have to beat Wallace first. I begin with Spinda and go for a Calm Mind before we then get crit with Blizzard for massive damage from Wailord. Great start. I go for another Calm Mind before it misses Water Spout and we take it out with Shockwave. Tentacruel is 2nd, it outspeeds and hits Sludge Bomb, leaving us on 2 HP, before surviving Shockwave on a sliver. I know Wallace will heal, I gamble with Hypnosis, and we connect with Hypnosis. I use another Calm Mind and then take Tentacruel out with Shockwave. Ludicolo is third and it survives Psychic before missing Giga Drain, the Bright Powder saving us again. Wallace heals, but we go on to two-shot Ludicolo with Shockwave. Whiscash is fourth, it survives Psychic, barely, and then takes us out with Surf. Well, it's up to Teddiursa now. Wallace heals while we use Bulk Up. I know Whiscash likes to use Amnesia, so I chance another Bulk Up, and then we hit a Silk Scarf boosted Slash to take it out. Gyarados is fifth, but we one-shot with Slash, not even a crit I don't think. Milotic is last. It survives Slash, lands Toxic, and eats the berry before Wallace uses a full restore. We one-shot with our last Slash though, meaning we've done it. We've beaten the champion, and we can move on into the Hall of Fame. However, like I said, I'm going to do at least one effort on Steven, and so I head to Meteor Falls. I begin with Spinda, and we use Hypnosis on Skarmory. It misses Toxic, which is handy, and while it's asleep, we go for 2 Calm Minds. I badly misjudge how much damage we're doing though, as Shockwave only drops Skarmory into healing range, which of course just gets rid of the sleep. I use another Calm Mind, but we get hit with Toxic as we take Skarmory out with Shockwave. Armaldo is a 2-hit with Psychic but lands Ancient Power for big damage. There's no great way for Spinda to hurt Claydol, we get taken out with Earthquake. Teddiursa doesn't do any better, we get 2-shot with Earthquake and without powering up we have no chance. I feel like I probably could do this if I was willing to grind them up another 10 levels. Do I want to though? That's the question, and the answer is no, not really. I could spawn rare candies in, but I don't really like doing that unless I absolutely need to. And well, I'm going to draw a line under this here and now. So, maybe a bit of a deflated ending, but this was fun, I will admit it. I enjoyed this one. I like the idea of tag team runs. Maybe the 2 Pokemon here were perhaps a bit too good, but well, there'll be a few more a bit further down the line. Thanks for watching folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, call out with a comment and smash that subscribe button. Join me again next time for another Pokemon challenge as I see if I can beat Pokemon White with a single Totodile. It's sure to be fun. I've mentioned my possible lifestyle changes upcoming, we'll have to see how that plays out. By the time you hear this, something may have happened. It may have, it may not have. At the time of writing, I don't know. We'll see, won't we? Till next time folks, have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye.